think I will go. I think we're live, maybe. So I think we're going. We're going. We're going. What's that? So, alrighty, we're on. Welcome to back to another chapter of life. Um, another day. Another day above ground. Um, Still fighting the good fight. Still trying to get words out to people to reiterate everything I've learned over the last almost half a century. So, but I like to start things out. I like to laugh a lot. Laughter is great. It heals. It it helps release endorphins and serotonin. Just makes laughter's best uh, form of treatment. So, but anyway, we like the memes. Memes describe a lot of our stuff anymore, but we're just getting out of the fair season, especially, Iowa takes big pride in our fairs. We we really like our fairs because we've got the biggest fair in the nation at the Iowa State Fairgrounds. So they pull in well over 1 million people over the 10 days I think they're open. I personally have not been there, but the staple favorite for every state fair is always corn dogs. And though I like a good hot dog, I do not care for corn dogs for some weird reason. I like cornbread. I like hot dogs. I just don't like. For some weird reason, I don't know. I haven't had corn dogs in so long because I just didn't like them at all every time I tried them growing up. So I just quit buying them. There's other things to buy, you know. And God, it's hard to even go to a fair. Just we went over to one fair for a concert, and oh Lord, the prices on everything. A turkey leg was like $20 or something like that. 22. I mean, it was ungodly expensive. But this is a play. It's a corn dog. Get it? Corn on the dog. So that that probably wouldn't be so bad, except not a lot of nutritional value in corn. Uh, but you know, not a ton of nutritional value in a hot dog unless you're getting all beef franks or something like that, or um, not ultra processed hot dog. But we make a joke too about the natural corn dogs. Um, um, where was it going to go? I think somebody just liked that right here. Um, Picture here. I call them all natural corn dogs because we always see the videos. I've been seeing the videos for well over a decade of, friends tricking country folks, tricking the city folk, more or less. Sometimes just the dumb country folk that never got outside the house and was a bookworm, which there was a few, but not too many. Most of the everybody I knew out in the country had to do work. But well, you see the pictures of them biting into it. Obviously, this is a cattail. Uh, Swampier regions. We've got some close to the house because we got really clay soil around where I live. So cattails do grow. Um, and it's just funny to see. I call them natural corn dogs. It's funny to see people bite into them, but just goes back to I, the corn dog. So anyway, um, I had that up for something else. That was that. What should we talk about? What should we talk about? There's a lot of different shit. Um, just a couple of things before I get into the main subject, which is we're not a cult here. I kind of strayed away from actually explaining some of the shit that I actually put in the title and not actually go following through with it. Uh, Again, grew up. I love dairy. I love my milk, and you will see me drink that more than anything else. No, I'm not sponsored by any milk company or whatnot. Not that I wouldn't take that because I spend a lot of money on dairy. I just wish we could get. We have access to raw milk and it's fantabulous, but um, I think it should become more readily available as we try to make America healthier again. Excuse me. God damn. Normally that clears me all up. I'm like most people say that doesn't, but anyway, um, this I found kind of interesting. Um, I was a big Nirvana fan. Um, I had their I had their album, the first, which would have been their actually technically the third album, the Nevermind album. I got it months before they actually started playing it on the radio, and or at least before it really got popular around where I grew up. So, and by that point in time, I kind of grew tired of it because it became mainstream. I thought I had found some kick-ass rock, grungy, grunge metal in a way. That was all to me, that nobody else knew who they were. And the people that I did have listened to it, they're like, wow, this is good. And, but I've always kind of been, I've, their music did revolutionize a lot of the genre of grunge metal there in the early 90s. But, um, 94, obviously, supposedly, Kurt killed himself, and there was a lot of stipulations. I had seen bits and pieces growing up, or getting older. This happened right before I graduated. Uh, but you hear rumors and stuff like that. It's like, none of it really made sense why he would have killed himself, even though you know it's just weird. And then when you see this that they're you got journalists that are trying to cover his death, asking questions about it related to his death, because the suicide thing just it never hit right with a lot of people. Just like the whole uh, JFK assassination with Harvey Oswald, that you know this crackpot didn't do that. We knew that, but and the truth comes out. It just takes a long fucking time for this truth to come out, and it pisses me off. But you know, it's been 31 years since he killed himself. Killed himself. But here's some of the things I didn't even know. I knew about the shotgun and stuff like that, but um, that it would have been impossible pretty much for I had my own things. But here's a first thing that I thought this is interesting. The the day he died, it was ruled a suicide right where the day his body was found. No toxicology results yet, no fingerprint results yet. Nobody had been questioned. Automatically suicide because there's a shotgun and his head's blown off. Okay. They I've had friends that have committed suicide. Obvious suicide. Even one that took his own life in front of the police. Um, and they still don't rule that a suicide until there's still an investigation. You still had somebody die not by natural causes. And even if natural causes, we still do autopsies to see if maybe there wasn't something that maybe this person could have lived because of X, Y, Z or whatnot. Uh, and it's not like older adults in nursing homes and stuff aren't poisoned sometimes. It can happen. Don't put it past some of these evil ass people to, help people along in life. But that's kind of something that just kind of stuck out to me right now, reading this. You know, and then the fact that the coroner had no hardly any experience, and yeah, the shotgun blast was occurred post mortem, so he was already dead, and then so there wouldn't have been the pool blood, but uh, a lethal dose of heroin. Uh, no fingerprints on the shotgun anywhere. Uh, Two witnesses said they seen his body deceased at a greenhouse 2 days before the coroner's estimate, 5 days before his body was eventually found. The suicide letter. He did not write the last 4 lines of the suicide letter. One witness from the house was repeatedly threatened by killers years after the event. Um, yeah, the receipts. That's right, the receipts. I forgot about that. Yeah, the receipts just happened to be put there. You know, like we seen with the FBI after the Mar-a-Lago raid, where they released those photos saying, "Here's the incriminating evidence. Here's that evidence against them." But it looks too neat. It it just didn't look right. And of course, right away, oh, you're a fucking conspiracist. You're a conspiracy theorist. You no. Once again, we were fucking right again. Because yeah, they did admit that they staged that photo to make it look better. They don't get in trouble for it. Well, hopefully they do now, but you know, this was just if it finds me. It's really interesting that this stuff, especially when this is 31 years later, and you're suing to not have any more information put out. So does that? I always have thought allegedly that Courtney Love had everything to do with his murder. I'm 100% convinced he was murdered. I was convinced of that before this article. I was convinced she did it at the time. It's like, no, he didn't kill himself. His fucking crazy ass wife killed him. That's just allegedly. That's my opinion. I don't care if you hate my fucking opinion on that, but that's my opinion. I thought she killed him. Did she? Or did she hire a hit squad? I mean, either way, she could be implicated in this. I mean, she was going to go nowhere. She kind of went somewhere when after Kurt died, but not really. Um, that's going to have to do with everything else. I was going to get into this. Now, this is why I can say we're not in a cult. I'm not in a cult. I'm a constitutionalist. No, it's already been decided in the Supreme Court that burning our flag, Old Glory, is Perfectly fine. It's protected First Amendment speech. And I wholeheartedly agree with that. Do I hate the fact that they're burning it? Yes. Would I actively try to put one out if I seen it on fire on the ground? Yes. You damn right. Um, I've known way too many veterans in my life, especially Vietnam veterans growing up, to and just being a lover of our this great, wonderful country. I was born just past the 200th anniversary. You know, we're gonna hit the 250th anniversary next year. This is the greatest country ever designed. And yes, I think it is very disrespectful to burn that flag, which stands for our ideology, this great country that we've been for 250 years, through our good times and our bad times, and times we've righted wrongs. But for Trump to sign an executive order saying that, yeah, you're going to go to jail for a year. Okay. No, I'm sorry, you can't. Now, one guy did burn a flag right after this, and he did get arrested. He is looking at at least a year in jail, but he was arrested for burning without a permit on federal grounds during a time where fire wouldn't be permitted or something like that. So they've got him on those charges. Not the fact that he burned the flag, because that is protected free speech. It's great that we have free speech. I mean, if we didn't, we we wouldn't have a country. And we've had so many times people trying to take that freedom of speech away. But overall, though, no, you're not gonna go to jail for burning the flag. And we've got, besides the fact that I think it was in the 80s that they actually did decide that, yeah, that is constitutionally protected free speech. You know, so's this crap here, which, is saying that, we're racist. Hey, win some Sears. If trans can't share the bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Okay, we're going to go back to segregation, which, if you look at it as a whole, we really didn't start having problems until we all started interacting. I guess if that's why America was so great. You came to America, we had this great ideas and morals, and in a lot of ways, and as long as you assimilated, we all got along. We were all out for the greater good. God, family, and country. That was our founding principles, and that's abide by those. Don't cause a ruckus. Don't steal from me. Don't try to kill me. We could keep. I mean, that shit happens, but that's living in America. Uh, it's when you get some of these third world countries that just haven't. They're not going to assimilate. That throws a monkey wrench in a lot of different things. And, you know, before anybody talks about this goddamn colonialization, got a great one on colonialization. Why is white people always the ones that get blamed for colonization? Was the when there's so much more Spanish Hispanic people than white people. Anyway, different subject. But you know, this flag burning is, he's I'm gonna play this, can I? I don't have my headphones on. How loud is this? Well, let's start this over again. And I get that point of view. I get that. Yeah, usually these flag burnings are not at a usually a peaceful protest, and by peaceful protest I mean um, no violence at all. That means no fires, no fists being thrown, no tear gas, no pepper spray. We have a peaceful protest. Um, yeah, usually when that the flag is being burned, he is right on that. But and that's where you're going to get these people on for crimes. That's the only way you're going to actually get these people. You can't charge them for burning the flag, but you can charge them for enticing a riot. Remember, they charged Axl Rose for that for when he walked off stage in St. Louis after Hetfield got burned during Fade to Black, and Guns N' Roses comes out. He does like half song or a couple of songs or whatever. Fuck this! Walks off stage, and they rioted. They were overturning cars outside. He got charged with enticing a riot. So I guess you could consider that that's reasonable, articulable suspicion of crimes going to be happening. So yes, this could follow constitutionally a way to a loophole into it to nab these people, but to to right out say that just because you're burning the flag you're going to get arrested, no. What, technically no. I could stand outside and burn my flag, and nothing's going to happen to me. Um, I would prefer that they be destroyed in the proper manner, folded and laid to rest in a pile of coals for in a ceremony. They are sacred to me. But okay, so there's going to be an investment. I guess I should have read into it a little bit more. I mean, it's still the optics look bad, and that's we're going to get the sound bites and that bullshit. But it really, yeah, it's there's going to be investigatory into it, and like I said, charge them with enticing a riot. So that's all right, as long um, as long as it's just not, yeah, burning a flag just to burn a flag. Like I said, that guy in DC got charged because he was burning something on federal ground, um, in a restricted space, whatever. But anyway, anyway, look at it. Trump brought it up in his first administration, the red flag laws. No, I again, I'm not in a cult. That's unconstitutional. We do not want the fucking Minority Report to become real. Were you going to arrest me on a premonition that I might commit a crime? You still have to have, according to our Fourth Amendment rights, reasonable articulable suspicion of a crime before you can be arrested, even ID'd in most states. Uh, but I disagreed with that when he brought that up. He got blasted about it. I think the states that do have them, uh, it's unconstitutional. I know there's court cases going on with them, but you know, am I in support of like having? I mean, some of this stuff can be prevented by monitoring what's going on social media because people are stupid when they commit crimes. And it's, you would think it's getting harder and harder every day to commit crimes and get away with them. They do happen, but uh, I forgot what I was doing. Sorry, I get frazzle brained, and shit just happens like that. But anyway, yeah, I'm against. I'm for anything that's, as long as it's constitutional, I'm fine with it. Uh, are there a lot of laws that should be deemed unconstitutional? Oh yeah, yeah. Is a lot of the bureaucracy surrounding DC and Doge's effort to kind of cut into this, is all that stuff constitutional? No, not really. Um, we could go back to, the president could possibly even cut the pay to Congress themselves if necessary to get some of these cuts going. We've got way too much outflow and not enough inflow, and raising our taxes is not the answer. Luckily, we did get, that was one of the only good parts about the big beautiful bill, and that was to keep the tax cuts the way they were. you know, I personally would see about a $5,000 to $6,000 a year loss into federal taxes because of it. So I'm grateful for that, but you know, be it as it may. Uh, but it was, here's Hillary talking about, wow, that's fucking loud. Uh, Democrats at one point in time wanted to do this too. They wanted to get the whole banning of burning the American flag, which, again, as being a free speech absolutionist, I agree that it's unconstitutional. Um, and I will take that back. I am a free speech absolutionist, but there's also stuff out there that needs to be age appropriate also. That's a lot of things, but uh, yeah, here's Hillary when she was a senator. That this oh oh 06, so 19 years ago. Yeah, I Congress can't prohibit it. I, I, it's just one of those things. That gives you the power to do that. Now, the free speech also gives this lady the right to burn the Quran. Now, is she going to get a lot of slack for this? Oh, yes, I'm sure she has. This came out yesterday. Um, Valentina Gomez down there in Texas. She ain't messing around. She's gonna burn this thing. She's I mean, okay. I mean, but I'm not gonna use the excuse that um oh, because of 9/11. 9/11 wasn't even the Muslims that did that. That is that was done by us. So, uh, maybe another country that I will leave nameless at this point in time, but I'm sure they had a heavy, heavy foot in that. But yes, we are a Christian nation. We were founded on Christianity. All of our founding fathers were Christians. Thomas Jefferson got the most slack because he tried rewriting the Bible, his version, and he was not a theologian when it came to that kind of stuff. But he was adamant about the separation of church and state, and they did have some after the fact. They got disbarred, but they had state sponsored churches, and that's okay. Again, especially when it comes to like taxes and stuff like that, why should my taxes be going to a church that's going to ask for donations? I get the whole being a nonprofit that they don't have to file taxes. Uh, I think they still have property taxes for some weird reason, but you still have the lights and stuff like that to pay, and the minister that's preaching, rabbi or whatever, and that doesn't that no tax money should be going to that. I don't care which religion you are. I don't want my money going to you because I don't want it to go to Satanists. So why would I say, well, then we could only have yeah, we have freedom of religion. We go back to the First Amendment, freedom of religion. You're fine with it. Time in my life I became atheist. My son told me that they have a Bible in the school library. I said, it doesn't surprise me. That's fine. I have no problem with that. I do wish that they had uh, the Quran there though too. To not show favoritism towards Christianity, but uh, I've since come back out of it being an atheist. But uh, Islam is not as peaceful as you would think it is, but then again, Christianity wasn't as peaceful as we are now. Right now, Christians have become sheep. They have become so soft because we realize a lot of the shit that happened in the past was not good, not godly, not Christian by any means. From burning women at the stake to torturing people because they didn't want to convert over to Christianity. I mean, millions of people were killed in uh, South America, Central America, the Indians because of the Spanish convert or die. So you have that factor, and I don't like that factor, but that's where Islam is. Islam did take that part of the Bible, and a lot of what the Quran is copied from the Old Testament and New Testament. They do mention Jesus and being a prophet and whatnot, but and they go all the way back to Moses. But it, yeah, in actuality, you're all three major religions that are all worshiping the same God, the God of Abraham. So that's what it is. Um, they're all the same God, but it's just different interpretations. And Islam was more towards the barbaric uh, conquer and convert everybody. If you don't worship Allah as we have inscribed in our Quran by the Prophet Muhammad, who was nothing but a pedophile with delusions. Like I said, he copied a lot of stuff right out of the Bible. So I got reading about halfway through the Quran and put it down. I'm like, well, one thing is for sure is this reads a lot easier than the Bible does. But um, then again, if you read the Bible and you're reading especially Genesis, you go on page after page after page, it's just names. It seems like it's like I don't care. I grew up in a small town where it seemed to be like everybody knew everybody else's business, and I we weren't related to anybody up there. My parents moved up there from the area I'm at now and got me, and so they made friends, but there was no relatives. But up there, seems like everybody was related to somebody. And lo and behold, I'm not related to anybody now in that county except for my son, who was living there the last couple of years. Um, but my son is related to half of the town because ex-wife's family goes way back in that community and big families and whatnot. And not even being Catholic, big families. Just I don't even know what religion they were. Maybe Baptist. Fucked if I know. But yeah, I really don't care. Um, I really I don't care for the whole religion is going to behead you if you don't convert. Now, there's a couple of different forms of Islam, just like there's a couple of different forms of Christianity. We have the Catholics and we have the Protestants. Um, and then the Protestants are even split up pretty drastically. Um, the one that I'm supposedly a part of, non active member, grew up in, they used to be the badasses in back in the day in the 14 1500s, and even coming over here to the states in the into the 1800s, but they became pussies. I think Christianity, especially on the Protestant side, is you lost me when you said pro-abortion, pro pro-choice. um, and then Catholics kind of, especially with the vaccines, using aborted fetal tissue in their vaccines and saying, well, yeah, that's okay, you can do that, when it's been against their mantra for a millennia. So, but any religion that wants to kill to have you converted is not a good thing. Like I said, they do have two different sects, a couple of different sects of Islam: the Sunnis, the Shiites, and I forget which one's which. One side is actually fairly decent. Um, the only your cultures are your cultures, but when I also see the religion look at women as more objects than equality, or they think women less than human, uh, that's where I have problems with too. Um, Women are our equal. Um, Men and women are we you have to have male and female. You have to have the balance. That's the way nature balances itself. Uh, Even asexual is not going to produce. You're not gonna. It's not gonna really produce different DNA. But men are stronger. Women are better at cleaning and raising children. Um, Women can raise children. I can't raise. I raised a child, but I can't give birth to a child. So you created life through my seed. Yeah, I should. I'm very grateful for that. I can't do that, but in return, I'll protect you. I'll look after you. I'll help support you. You know, that's just the way it works, hand in hand. So, I guess we can get away from that just a little bit here. A couple other things I wanted to talk about. Um, Texas did get their vote through. They got their redistricting done, then signed. And again, we're not going to hold them accountable for skipping out of this for almost 2 weeks. You could have kicked them all out. Plain and simple. You could have kicked them out. You could have done some serious damage to their political careers if you hold them accountable. You know goddamn well if the shoe's on the other foot, you'd probably be in jail. All these Republican caucus people in Texas that voted to not hold them accountable know for goddamn sure that they would be in fucking jail if the fucking shoe was on the other foot. It would be. You would have every single Democrat vote together, and you can't get all the Republicans to vote together. Texas is a weird motherfucking state. I mean, they've tried to impeach their attorney general a couple of times over doing his fucking job. And obviously they got to his wife. He's getting divorced from her. But this guy's gone through hell. And it's all been legal. And they've got a problem there. I mean, and it's not just there. We have it here at these seats at Congress level too. Obviously, never, everybody's going to follow Trump. Okay, I get that, but when you have razor thin margins, sometimes I want to watch myself because I will contradict myself on that one. Ugh. It's okay, but some things are blatantly obvious, especially when it comes to these supposed nominations that have to get confirmed through the Senate, which is a total fucking hoax. They don't have to go through the Senate. The Senate is supposed to give a yay or nay if they think this person's a good fit for the job or not. That doesn't mean the president has to take their advice. They're supposed to advise the president on his cabinet picks, not vote on them. Well, they can still vote on it. Here's the way it actually works is if the president, if he's, we'll take Hegseth for example. Says, okay, Senate, what do you think of him? I want him to be my Department of Defense secretary. And they all get together and they say, nope, 100 to 0 for a no on him. Trump could have went and gone, okay, I see your point, but he's our new Defense Department secretary because your opinion doesn't mean shit. I was elected to hire my people. You were elected to hire your people. We don't go through the senators and representatives and vet all of their chief of staff to their accounting person, to their investigators, to their IT people. We don't vet any of them, but we have to vet and vote on people that the president picks to help him run the country. It's not the way it's supposed to be. Again, with that though, you get the fucking likes of what we've seen in 2000 or 2021 when you have the Murkowskis and shit like that. Those dumb fuck Susan Collins, Lisa Murkowski. Murkowski should not be a fucking senator. For Alaska could get rid of their ranked choice voting. Unfortunately, they lost that vote because the third choice came into factor on it for somewhere. I don't know. Um, I might be just talking out of my ass, but uh, yeah, they voted to get Merrick Garland in there. They voted to have Alejandro Mayorkas. Oh yeah, yeah. That God, I can't even think of that fucking douchebag. The Department of Defense dude that fucking should have been fired for dereliction of duty. Um, Lloyd Austin, Darth Vader during COVID. Uh, oh, Jesus. But yeah, they voted for them. But when it came to Trump's picks, you're barely squeaking by with a 51 to 50 vote or a 51 to 49 vote, and you could have had a 55 to 45 vote. Why is this so bad? Watching this cat outside, his tail was quivering like hell. Um, but oh yeah, we can't get anybody to vote to go along, especially those nominations. That's really what pissed me off a lot. When it comes to the bills and shit like that, I get where Thomas Massey's coming from. He's 100% accurate. Get a lot where Rand Paul is coming from, especially on the big beautiful bill. Yeah, he was fine with everything else except for raising the debt ceiling. Okay, and I get his point. Why should we be raising the debt ceiling when we're supposed to have Doge axing our debt so we don't have to pay as much interest and shit? But no, um, and I get where he was coming from, the debt ceiling and the rate they wanted it raised was for at least that they, if absolutely have has to happen, shit hit the fucking fan, we can extend our credit a little bit further on rather than coming back in 3-4 months from now because we're at our debt ceiling again. Um, I think I got him. Uh, and I get why Trump wanted to do that, and I get Rand Paul. Um, Rand Paul was not against the tax cuts and all that good stuff. So, and the cuts to Medicare, which is, it needs to happen. I mean, the only cuts that are happening are the people that shouldn't be getting Medicaid, Medicare to start off with. I just heard Dr. Oz talk about that with the one of the local guys on the radio. Uh, we spend like $1.8 trillion on Medicaid, Medicare. It's twice the national budget. Um, why are we so sick? Oh, damn. That was an article I was going to pull up, and I totally forgot about that. Um, yeah, why are we so sick? In Iowa's got a really bad problem. We've got the highest cancer rate in the 50 states for a couple of years. And we're trying to boil it down. What's causing all this and blah, 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 blah. And it's our diets. It's the way we grow things. Uh, Iowa here is we've got high levels of nitrates also in the water supply, getting high. Not bad enough that if you're pregnant, you probably shouldn't be drinking the public water. Where are the nitrates coming from? Well, it's all that nitrogen. Not only do plants, when they break down, release nitrogen into the soil, but then you spray application on there to add more nitrogen so the plants grow faster and bigger, stronger. Um, Nitrogen is more or less steroids for plants. The more nitrogen, the better it's going to get. Uh, but we've got a problem with that, the cancer, which is you can associate it back with we got a lot of farms. We farm a lot of fields. We use a lot of glyphosates. Um, the ads have been running. They're trying to ban glyphosates being used in Iowa, and that I mean they've already gone and had to pay a class action lawsuit against them that it causes non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I do believe it is, and that's just one cancer. What other cancers is this stuff causing? I mean, Monsanto hasn't had a good product ever. Every one of their products ends up killing people. Agent Orange, uh, that Zika virus was another fungicide. Uh, Ebola was tied to it. West Nile's tied to Monsanto, and now you got these glyphosates that we've been spraying on our fields to kill off kill off weeds. And if we don't have that, what are the farmers going to do? Well, growing up, I remember when the farmers used to actually till their fields after the crops came up a ways. You would go through and get rid of all the weeds, till them up a little bit, turn the dirt over, kills them off for a little bit. The corn growth can spurt up, and then more or less after corn gets reached a certain height, it just shades out the whole ground, and the weeds aren't going to be as much. You're still going to have some, but and glyphosate actually kills corn too. But we've modified corn, genetically modified corn to be resistant to the stuff that should kill it. So, and then we're eating this. It's going into our beef, and we end up eating the beef. So they kind of go hand in hand here. But our nitrogen level, they're going to end up paying. We're trying to get it going through that. They're going to pay farmers to put waterways back in, buffer strips, where if anybody, and especially if you're here from Iowa, you've seen it where you're driving along in the old way back and you see corn and then you see this big long stretch of grass that kind of meanders through the field, a couple of them here or there. Those are buffer strips. Those are supposed to help buffer out some of the nitrogen from getting into the water supplies. Um, Usually they're in areas where runoff is going to occur. Well, here's the other problem I have, and I've cussed out farmers for, well, not to their faces, but all around here, everybody tiles. We've tiled and tiled and tiled and tiled, and that's great. You're not having a lot of runoff off of the fields that's washing topsoil gone. Okay, that's a good thing. But you're also not leaving enough moisture in the fields to keep your plants. I mean, what the tiling is doing is taking all that excess water. There's a big, huge tube, but you bury under the ground, a couple feet under the ground. That rain comes through there, it collects that rain and gets it out of the field, so it's not puddling up in the field and causing crops to die because they're drowned or whatnot, or just plain ass fucking flooded. Uh, so they tile the water away. Well, that water's you're also tiling away all the nitrogen that's in there, and you're getting it into the water stream faster. It's fine if you keep putting down your nitrogen on your fields. That's not the problem. Rip your tiling out. If all the farmers would go back and rip out their tiling and put in these buffer strips again, that we're going to offer $3,500 per acre for a farmer to do this. So it's profitable, could be profitable to a farmer. Granted, yes, he's going to lose, 300 bushels of corn in an acre? You know, that's even at $7 a bushel, $210,000. $21,000. $21,000. Um, so, but then again, if Doge got their way, we could get rid of a lot of more of these fucking subsidies. If the big beautiful bill got rid of subsidies for the wind generation and Elon with Tesla and whatnot. That's great. You shouldn't be getting my money. You've got good business going. Um, the government's not giving me any money to start up my fucking business. I've tried. I don't qualify. White male, born here. Yeah, but there was more shit I wanted to get into. Um, these charities that are bullshit. I think I'll save that for Thursday. We'll get into the charities. I want to bring up a little bit more on that. My puppy came out. She's scared of everything. She's a good girl, though. Wish I could show you guys, but she won't come over here. So, um, that's something to leave you guys on. We always gotta have something good to leave off of. Um, classic tackle. So, but since I got into myself into a lot of long ass ramblings, we'll prepare more oofta, oofta. And hope to see more of you in the future. And I'll chat at you later, I do believe. So we'll talk to you on Thursday at 6:45. Until then, be safe out there. Stay strapped.